Thanks for tuning in to another Mets podcast. Chris here, and my buddy Frankie. We just wanted to hop on and talk about the 2024 Mets season because it was pretty special. It seemed pretty special. A lot of surprises as the
Yeah.
season went along, and it had a pretty wild ride. So I'll toss it to you, Frankie. How do you feel, man? I mean, I know, we got knocked out by the Dodgers a few days ago, but
Yeah.
what was your overall feeling just from the season? I guess reaction throughout the playoff run and kind of whatever you want to get into.
It wasn't uh it was surreal seeing this team keep climbing from the depths of just ending the season already at like a point where like it's a win. It's a win. The fact that they even became close to contention, that was already a win. We weren't under 500, a win. Every mark where it was like where it was worse, where we thought it was already worse, it only got better from there. So I can't complain too much other than like say like, hey, if we ended in not under 500, that's a win for what we had. But the only thing I would have complained about is like, hey, we should have sold. These are 1 year deals. We could have like sold, but that's not what happened. It's not what happened at all. This team, like I said, just kept clawing and fighting their way back, almost winning 90 games. They were 1 game short, but practically winning 90 games. They probably could have won more games if they hadn't blown some games, but you
Also,
know,
we didn't have Sanga. We lost Diaz for well, first he was injured, then he got suspended randomly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We lost key parts of our bullpen.
yeah.
Coach Rayleigh, even Drew Smith was starting to like kind of figure it out, and then he just got his like second or third uh Tommy John. We didn't have an ace. We don't have an ace. We're
Oh,
not gonna have an ace if all these 1 year deals peace out, which is fine. But um, you know, there was just a lot of like, let's just look forward to next season. And then really we were just like, no, we don't have to focus on next season because right now we're focused on winning. And that's what happened. And it was just a shock. I think Mets fans really are some of the most some I think just sports fans in general are very critical, but Mets fans are the worst.
oh yeah,
We being a Mets fans, but like they didn't understand what the plan was, or people just
yeah,
forgot that this was a punt year.
yeah. They
And
literally, I mean, they said it prior to Stearns coming in when he came in and signed all everybody and when the
Mhm,
season started, he was like, "Yeah, we think we have a competitive team," and everybody kind of clowned on him because it was like,
mhm.
"What are you talking about, man? Severino hasn't pitched in 5 years. Sean Manaea is a journeyman fifth starter at best. Jose Quintana, David Peterson, so somewhat rightfully so. We were all kind of skeptical, but."
Yeah,
At the same time, I think a lot of us felt like, well, we saw the Diamondbacks win 84 games and go to the World Series. So we know it's possible to
crazy. Yeah,
sneak in.
yeah. And it's crazy. They
But
had a better season this year and they didn't make it
dude, and
because
because we fucking beat them one more time than they beat us, we had the same number of wins. That must have killed them to see a team with the same record. Oh, yeah. But
so
when we were 11 under at the start of June, what I mean,
I
I
didn't
feel
care.
it's silly
I
to
didn't
even,
care.
but nobody, but no
Nobody
one
cared.
thought it was over. It was over.
Yeah,
Season
yeah.
was
Nobody cared. It
over.
was like whatever. I'll,
The
I'll
punt
watch the
year is
highlights. I'll watch
happening.
the walk-off wins whenever.
Yeah, let's get a draft pick. Let's sell at the deadline. Where's Pete Alonso going to get traded? And like when we lost to the Dodgers, it's so weird, man. It's like the first time I can remember not being sad that the party was over, that the season
Mhm.
was done. I was disappointed in a vacuum of damn, we lost. Losing's not fun. But
Right.
we we went on an epic run of
Yeah.
we dude, I remember it's gonna be one of those Mets seasons where you remember where you were during certain moments. I remember where I was when Lindor hit the home run against the Braves to give
hmm
us the lead.
Yeah, I was at work.
Same, dude. I was like, I was on a break at the gym and like watching that game, and then like when Ozzy Albies hit that bases clearing double in the bottom of the eighth, I felt sick. I felt like
Yeah.
physically ill. I turned off the game. I was like, wow, all this and we're not gonna make it. It felt like the most Mets thing ever. It
Hmm.
was like, we're gonna get this close and we're not gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then we fucking made the playoffs. And we went to the
On a great baseball game, no less. It was a phenomenal game.
classic.
Like
Classic.
pound for pound, trading blows. It was great. Like I really thought we were gonna lose that game, and then Lindor said, "Nah, not on my
Dude,
watch."
the weirdest like baseball gods like taking pity on us kind of season where like there were so many moments. I mean, I was sitting on this couch during the Brewers game, game three, top of the ninth, and I remember Lindor gets the walk, and I thought like, all right. I mean, double play, but whatever. And then Nimmo gets the base hit. And then it's first and third, one out. And I'm like, this is starting to have one of those feelings of like Pete's coming up. And we all
Hmm.
like, we're watching that game. It's not a single Mets fan that didn't know Pete Alonso was going to come up in the ninth inning with a chance to either win the game or send us home.
Yeah.
Like, because baseball is just weird like that.
Yeah.
And when he hit that home run, just like jumped off the couch, ripped my headband off, threw it somewhere. The cats, we have two cats. Cats went running. I was like, I didn't know what to do. And scored another run and then, you know, double play to end the game where Lindor just like takes it himself. And I just sat in the kitchen. I was just like leaning over the counter, like, holy shit. Can't believe it. I can't believe we made it out of the first round. This never happens. Dude, we
Yeah.
were there 2 years ago. We got embarrassed.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie, definitely started to feel like maybe this is the year.
So I mean,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Did you get that feeling as we beat the Braves to get in, beat the
Yeah.
Brewers?
Yeah. I mean, once like you said, when we beat Philadelphia, and when I found out and when we found out we were facing the Dodgers, like we owned the Dodgers in the last 20 years in playoffs.
Yeah, we
We
used to.
we embarrassed them in NLDS twice,
Yeah.
twice. Uh, and they were just a better team. They spent all that money, $700 million. So,
Fucking billion, dude. They gave Yamamoto 300 million
oh
after
yeah,
Otani. Straight up $1 billion they spent in the
just on
offseason.
two players. So like it would have been fitting if they got eliminated by the Padres, and it would have been hilarious. But choke job artists, whatever.
Classic Padres fan.
Fernando Tatis is a
That's
fraud.
why
I'm
they've
just
never
kidding.
won a fucking World Series. But the Padres don't have a World Series. Never win when it counts.
Exactly.
Anyway,
So, you know, when I'm like, oh shit, there might be a chance. I mean, I was scared because like the Dodgers spent all this money. They're not
yeah,
choking like they're supposed to, like they usually do. If
right.
they had Kershaw, we might have had a chance.
Dude,
He
what's so
sucks.
scary about them? Like, I was thinking about, I mean, we just got outplayed. They're better
Hmm.
at everything. They're better at pitching. They're better at hitting. We scored a bunch of runs, but like the games we lost, we basically got shut out.
I'm
Uh,
blown out.
yeah.
Double
And
whammy.
I was thinking like, damn, they did this to us and the Padres, and they don't have Tyler Glass now, and Otani's not even pitching. I'm like, so I'm already thinking like next year, I'm like, how the fuck, God, how's anyone gonna beat this team? But I mean, I think that's part of why when we lost game six, I didn't really feel like I don't know, like in 2015 when we got to the World Series, we legit beat ourselves. Like we're to this day,
Hmm.
we're the only team to get to the World Series and blow three games. Three blown saves in the World Series.
Hmm.
But we didn't beat ourselves in this series. We just got beat by a team that was better at us than at everything. They were
Yeah.
just better at everything. And like we definitely like I was listening to Shea Station. I think it was either Shea Station or We Gotta Believe. or it might have been Mets stuff. I don't know. I listen to a lot of Mets podcasts,
Hmm.
but they were talking about like this is gonna be one of those teams, kind of like 2015, where you go back in 10 years and you look at the roster and you're like, how did they get to the NLC? How did they make the playoffs, let
Yeah,
alone they get to the
yeah.
NLCS? Like, you're gonna look at one of our lineups and it's gonna have like Omar Narvaez and Joey Wendell and like Brett Beatty hitting 190, and you're just like, what the fuck? Jose Quintana is like our starting pitcher. Like, there's no way this team finished over 500.
I kept
Like,
saying all season, I wanted Quintana off this team. I wanted him gone because of like
pull up the receipts, man. Every time I texted you about when he was pitching, or like, get him off my fucking team.
literally the same words I said. And then I could not. He proved me wrong. Look, I'm not gonna lie. He proved me wrong.
And the only game we went to this year, he dominated. He threw like
Yeah,
seven
of course,
shutout
of fucking
innings.
course. Yeah, and but we were saying you were still shitting on him. You were still shitting on him too. You're like, ah, shit, Quintana's pitching today.
I we were disappointed. Yeah,
It was great. Hey, I'm always happy to be proven wrong. Me and Chris have a track record of shitting on players.
yeah,
When we went to go see Pete Alonso break the record uh for most home runs in a rookie season, Rene Rivera started and at catcher, and he was just shitting on Rene Rivera all night long. And Rene Rivera hits a fucking home run, bomb actually,
man.
hilarious.
9 times out of 100, that does not happen. And
Shitted on uh our other boy Kevin Pillar. Hate you hated Kevin Pillar.
yeah, oh
He
man,
he loved shitting on you.
it's actually pretty good on the Mets. That's the crazy thing. Like,
Yeah, I know you were pretty rough on him on the Mets. I
yeah,
loved his defense.
yeah,
Um, so like, listen, I thought we had a chance once we were like shit, and especially more so when we were going home 1-1. It's like that's
yeah,
great, it's great scenario. But then after that blowout game, it
yeah,
was rough. And I'm like, damn, this might be it. I think the boys are tired. Um,
yeah,
the momentum might be dying down. I think we're all tired because it was a roller coaster of a season.
dude, it
Like
really
we
was.
started off mentally drained because we were 0 and 5.
Yeah.
Most fans were me. It's like whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully we don't lose 100 games. That's all I prayed for. I just
Oh
prayed that
yeah.
we didn't finish too bad under 500. We got a good draft pick. That's all I really wanted.
We're Mets fans. We expect to lose. So that's like, I remember we were sitting at Gamers Choice and we checked the score first game because I think
Mhm.
Luis Severino was the opening day starter. At least at home. I don't remember.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Whatever. And in like the second inning, it was like 5-0 Brewers. And we were just like, all right. I guess the Severino experiment's already dead. And
Little did we know. Little did
It
we know.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough to be sad about or disappointed in the season if you were watching the whole time. Because if
Hmm.
you were, then you saw a team that was like straight up left for dead, 11 under, 18 games out of first place. The Mets finished like 6 games back. They were 18 games behind. There was a time in August where the Diamondbacks had a 7-game lead on the Mets. That was after we were done playing them. So they
Hmm.
didn't have to play us anymore, and they still blew a 7-game lead. And I remember texting you at some point, like late in the season, and being like, "Dude, I think the only way we get in is if we leapfrog the Diamondbacks, because I don't think the Braves are gonna ever stop winning."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, while we were on a hot streak, they were also on a
right, and
fucking
the
hot streak.
fucking Braves and Phillies won like 9 in a row when we
Because
won 10.
if had they not gone on that winning streak, we probably would have won the division, which is
Yeah, I think
crazy.
if the season was 2 weeks longer, we probably take the division. But yeah, like you said, it just felt like I think the fans were tired. With the last 6 weeks of the season was literally like, I don't know if I texted you this or if I just like in my mind felt like was thinking it all the time, but I'm like, dude, they can't lose. Like literally from like mid-August through the end of the year, it was like every single game they played, they had to win.
Hmm.
Because they literally finished with the same record as the team that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like this was the most insane last 2 months, slash into the playoffs kind of run that I remember seeing as a fan. And I don't know about you, and I was curious to get kind of what you felt or what your feelings were, but this season it felt like it kind of I don't know, like reignited something in me as a
Yeah.
like it it taught me something about the how long a baseball season is, the ups and downs of like, and part of this is like Stearns just being very blunt about the fact where he was like, yeah, the team we start with is not going to be the team we end with. So like, whatever, like don't get too attached to these guys. Um, and I don't know. I just like when this season was over, this was the first time, and it sounds so cliche because, like, dude, I remember in '06 when we got knocked out and we were like, it's not even a problem. We're gonna be back. We got Wright, Reyes, Delgado, Beltran,
Hmm.
like killer lineup. And same in 2015. We had Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, Wheeler. Never got back. But in all of those instances, we had owners who hated the team. The Mets would win in spite of the team, and they never wanted to spend that next to get us to that next level.
Hmm.
And this is the first time where after we, lose in the playoffs, which is supposed to be devastating, I'm like excited for the future. Partially because, I mean, maybe people hate the phrase of like, we're not supposed to be here, but like everyone clowned on the Mets when the
Yeah.
season started. Dumpster diver Stearns, like he can't cut it in a big market. Even the Mets fans, like when you're 11 under, like let's be serious.
Yeah.
You're not thinking the season's going to turn around. The National League is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. The fact that the Diamondbacks won 89 games that didn't make it into the playoffs is crazy. That is insane that a team that almost wins 90 doesn't get in.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, we'll talk about this in future episodes, but it just felt like it's hard to be down on a season that was like so exciting, so truly magical. Like
It was
truly,
magical. It was great.
dude, like games that really felt like any other year. You run that you run that game the same way and the Mets lose every time.
Hmm.
The Lindor home run against the Braves. Every other year they go down 1-2-3 and the game's over. And now we're playing game two and we're like, holy shit, we actually have to get in. Pete Alonso grounds into a double play. You run that like same inning 100 times, he grounds into a double play. Even the Phillies, like, dude, I mean, so many. And I think part of that, and I'm curious if you agree, but like when that Phillies series was over, because we beat them,
Hmm.
we embarrassed the Phillies
Hmm.
in a way that sent their fan base into an absolute mental breakdown. Which I'm sorry, just made it better. I just
It
made
made
it.
it much better. So much better.
But after that series was over, in 4 games, so they only won one. Phillies played 6 months, won the division. They won one
I was
playoff.
under good authority that we were going to get swept,
Swept
and
Phillies
then
in
Phillies,
13.
and then Phillies in four. And then after we won one, the Phillies in four, and then it
So
was supposed to go back to Philly after we won
yeah, you
again.
don't want to face Zach Wheeler. We didn't. We didn't.
They didn't have to.
After that game was over, like Nimmo was crying, Lindor was emotional, and we were high-fiving everyone at the bar that we could high five.
Hmm.
And I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel like everyone just kind of let it all out.
Hmm.
Like because, even and the Philly fans as well, like we're both watching that series like, oh my God, please do not get fucking knocked out by the
Hmm.
Phillies. I will never live it down. These two teams never played in the playoffs before.
Hmm.
We'll never hear the end of this if the Mets get knocked out. And it just felt like after that series was over, like everybody's crying, everybody's emotional, and kind of felt it in game one against the Dodgers when they lost like 9-0, and Jack Flaherty is like the best pitcher of all time all of a sudden. And it just felt like that Philly series was kind of the end. I
Yeah.
didn't want to like acknowledge it at the time because I was riding high. I'm like, fuck yeah, bring on the Dodgers. No one's stopping this team of destiny. But when I look back at it, like that Phillies series, it felt like it meant a lot to the players. Like they
Hmm.
really wanted to beat the Phillies,
Yeah, for real.
specifically the Phillies.
For real.
And like once it was over, it was just like, we did it. Mission accomplished. Even though it's like, whoa, 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 no, we still like the
Yeah.
NLCS, the
There's
World
still a
Series.
mission, a real,
Yeah.
there's still a final boss.
But it was like I don't know. It felt to me like we did what we set out to do.
Yeah.
Like we had a great run, and to be fair, even though it's like there's no fucking trophies for how many games you make the other team play, But like we made it 6 games against a team that I don't know if you'd showed me a graphic of the Mets Dodgers NLCS logos back in March, I would have thought like, well, we're getting swept because
Hmm.
the Dodgers somehow we stumbled into the NLCS and we're getting swept. But yeah, I don't know. Did you feel like kind of the wind came out of the sails a little bit after the Philly series?
I think so. It's potentially, especially after game one, too. Right? I know I keep probably going back and forth, but we got smashed in game one.
Yeah, shut
Shutout
out.
based. So, it was tough. It was tough. Like there was those moments like that sparked us trying to get back, but it wasn't like when Lindor hit the grand slam ever again. That
No,
was like the cherry on top of of doing what we needed to do to get everyone back up and hype. Because it also, let's face it, that Philly game, we fucked up so many times
yeah. Oh my
in
God,
that game,
bases
like
loaded like what, three
three
times?
or four times. Like we had two bases loaded and like second and third, nobody out or one out
Yeah,
on like on numerous occasions, bunch of scoring plays, which was like a reoccurring theme too, facing the Dodgers.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I think the
yeah,
boys were just tired, and seeing that consistently, I think it just took a lot out of the fans again.
yeah,
So we lost some steam, and that's okay. Like when it was all said and done, I got a little teary eyed because like damn. I felt it. I felt like, damn, I think because deep down inside, I didn't want to get my hopes up. I didn't. I really didn't. Set your expectations low, so you don't
yeah. You'll never
expect
be disappointed.
you never be disappointed. But like you said, I wasn't disappointed. I think I was just sad that the ride was over.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more proud of this fucking team.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah.
feels better than telling people like we made it after being starting off 0 and 5, 11 games under. Everyone fucking shitting on us, even our own fan base. They're gonna be hypocrites. They're gonna be like, I always believe you. Fuck you. You know you didn't. I was under uh good authority that we were supposed to fire Carlos Mendoza, and we were supposed to
Oh my God.
fire
People wanted the
Stearns.
Wilpons back. They were like, Steve
Yo,
needs to sell the team
I
back to
told you, I fucking sent you that screenshot. We need the Wilpons. Like, excuse me? They're busy fucking tanking in esports. Don't bring back the fucking Wilpons. Don't shut up. So, it felt good, but I guess I pictured in my head a scenario where like if we make it to the World Series, I think we can do it. I
yeah.
definitely feel like we can do it. And I
Unbiased.
just
I think the Mets were a better team than the Yankees. Like I just think like top to bottom, they were a more
yeah,
complete team.
and we run this city. That was the
Why
other
we
thing.
swept them 4-0 during the season.
Exactly.
Couldn't touch us. So
So like, it just felt like damn. Like I think we can do it, and then I just want to have like our ladies there recording us, just waiting for us for the last out, and then it's over, and then we just both cry because
yeah,
finally we got one, but it
it,
wasn't
it
meant to be.
it's funny when you bring up being proud of the team. Like I think that's what I came away with the most was just like I just feel so proud and like
Hmm.
it's definitely bittersweet because the Mets are one of those teams this year where they did it with a bunch of guys who will not be on the team next year, which is
Yeah,
like another thing we'll get into. But they
right.
had a
We will.
lot of 1-year contracts. They had a lot of guys who can opt out. They have a lot of like player options, club options. This team will look different next year. They had a lot of prospects in the minors who missed the whole year with injuries, and like they were supposed to be, but like it's team's not going to look the same.
Yeah,
Uh,
like Drew Gilbert probably would have been up once Marte was down, but he
oh,
was
for
hurt.
for sure, yeah. Same with Jet Williams when McNeil went down.
Yeah.
Like there's little to no chance that Iglesias actually becomes a starting second baseman. Um, yeah, and I just felt really proud, and I think it's funny, and this is gonna sound so lame because we have not seen the team win a World Series,
Yeah.
but there is a part of me that was like, I don't know, this feels like what sports is supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
this feeling towards the team you love, which is a total sickness,
Hmm.
a fully abusive relationship,
Yeah.
because the Mets just usually disappoint us. But this season felt like the culmination of like this is what the experience is supposed to be. It's like filled with ups, it's filled with downs. There's times when you don't want to watch. There's times when you're like, oh my God, I hope they just play every day forever.
Hmm.
But then when the season ends, and this is why it's so weird that you feel this way after they lost. because like I don't feel like that. The feeling of losing usually hurts. It usually like you're disappointed. You're like, damn, we should have done this differently, and we could have won. And like it to me, it just feels like what a huge accomplishment even getting into the playoffs was. I just wanted them to make the playoffs.
Hmm.
And it feels like such a stepping stone. It feels like the Mets have the right, like a cohesive vision, the right people in charge, an owner that cares, a baseball ops guy that cares. It's with all of that, it's hard to be disappointed
Yeah.
uh, in the way that, we might have been in 2022, that I genuinely felt disappointment. I was mad. I thought we were better than the Padres. I was mad at Scherzer. I was mad at Chris Bassett. Uh, and when that season was over, it was like, what a fucking waste, dude. We
Yeah.
played 6 months, we won 100 games, we won one playoff game, and we went home. And that was one of those like, this sucks. And this year doesn't feel that way. It feels like this was beautiful. This was like a
Mm,
beautiful season. And I did want to say before we get off,
yeah.
me, it does feel like the Mets, because I know everybody clowns. Everybody clowns on them, LOL Mets, and most of
Yeah.
that is like 99% Wilpons bullshit. Um, but it feels like the Mets earned back, at least from the teams in the league, because we all know Fox, ESPN, they all hate us. MLB, Manfred, they all hate the Mets. But it feels like they earned back a little bit of street cred from the teams that they faced down the stretch, whether it was the Diamondbacks, whether it was the Dodgers, the Braves,
Hmm.
um, the Brewers. It just feels like the Mets are going to be one of those teams where other players will maybe see the vision now going forward. It won't be like a Carlos Beltran situation where it's like, well, you offered the most money, so I just fucking have to go to the Mets, even though I wanted to go to this other team more. Like, it felt like the Mets are maybe now on this path where they're a destination that you see the
Yeah.
vision, see where things could go. You see, they were 6 wins away from a World Series. They were 2 wins away from getting there. And that, just that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, it is a good feeling, and like, maybe there's an unhappy pitcher who wants to be traded to the Mets. There's a free agent a big one, who may want to be like, "Hey, I've been wanting to go there for a while, and they
Hmm.
were this close, and I would have faced them. I would have liked to face them, but then I would also want to be on that team next season.
Somebody who's on record saying he loves to hit at City Fields.
Someone on record who loves to hit at Citi Field, but we will save that for another time. And speculation and mania will run wild on this podcast, I think. Um, Overall, is this, I guess, just to send us down and wind down. What I expect from the Mets is a lot, but I'm gonna be cautious always because it is the Mets. I know, but we're Mets fans, so we're allowed to say that. Anything less, I guess, would be disappointing. Oh, any time for any team, obviously. But the fact that we have a leader in Lindor who pretty much should be the captain probably now
Oh, 100%.
of the
Yeah.
Mets, and
Yeah.
who will be a life Met and probably going to be a future Hall of Famer, God willing, if he stays healthy.
Right, right,
Will
right.
go into the Hall of Fame
Yep.
as a Met,
Big old Mets hat on his head.
you
Yep.
know, and we have such a wonderful player in him because, again, as even Philly fans had to acknowledge, when he hit that home run, he wasn't pumping his fist. It was
Nope.
just a regular home run to him.
Yep.
And that was very telling, and that made me very proud as a Mets player. If you're still on the fence for Lenore, first of all, screw yourself.
You're a fucking loser. Like,
You're, but
watch baseball?
if that moment didn't just solidify for you, like how not only was it clutch, but also the way he handled it with grace, knowing that there was still a lot of baseball to play, then that moment that should have solidified you to be excited to see him play next season and to
Mhm.
lead this team to another playoff run and whomever might be on the team next year to feel inspired to hit in front of him, behind them, and play on the field with him. And not just him, but like Nimmo. Nimmo definitely deserves his flowers. If Mania comes back, I think like who like the way he toughed it out for this season. A lot of players playing a little bit hurt, and some of them just
Yeah.
playing, you know, breaking their own personal records. I think it's inspiring, and that's something we need, not just for players or not just for us fans, but for the players, you know.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
I think that'll go a long way. And so we only pray to the baseball gods that we get blessed with a great team next season. And I think we will, but it depends on what Stearns wants to do. And I think we should focus on bettering our bullpen because those boys were burnt out in postseason.
Yeah, they were cooked. They
They
were
were
cooked.
cooked.
Yeah.
So, something to be excited for, I think. And that's all it always should be.
Yeah.
Um, but I get it, if you're like a White Sox fan, there's nothing to be excited about.
No, no, you got to pray he actually does follow through with selling the team.
That or just like you hope you see your favorite prospect. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's about it. I mean, I'm excited to see the future prospects. But you know,
Yeah.
that's that's for the future.
Yeah, it's one of those years where when it ended, it's hard not to be excited about the next season, which,
Hmm.
that's part of the fun of being a fan is looking ahead to the next year. And we've definitely had some years
Yep.
where there was nothing to look forward to.
Nothing to look forward to.
And so the fact that we could have such a crazy run and we lost, we just got beat. It wasn't like we fucking were up, 3 runs and Otani hit a walk-off grand slam or something. Like we just lost and the season ends, and yet we are hopeful and excited about 2025.
Yep. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Yeah.